And I think we're live. I'm going to check the channels and look around.
Yeah, I believe you're live. It shows that.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. Hello,
Let's just,
everybody. Yeah.
yeah,
Hello,
hello.
everybody. Welcome to today's Align for Dev session, AI and ChatGPT for creators. I'm Rahima and I'm joined by brilliant Philip Cutting. No matter where you're joining from today, thanks for making time here. We've got a packed and practical session ahead, and especially if you're a founder, a freelancer, or part of a creative team.
Absolutely. And just to kick things off, who here is already used ChatGPT for something creative? Just go ahead and drop a wave or something in the chat. We want to know what kinds of things that you guys explored already. Because today we're going to dive deeper into how to use those same tools, not just to experiment, but to also execute.
Absolutely. Today we're unpacking how creators, yes, you can use AI and ChatGPT to not only speed up your workflow, but actually free yourself up to do more of the creative work you love.
Awesome. Exactly. So, we're past the point of hype at this point nowadays. AI it's legit, it's solid, it's predictable, basically. And this stuff is working right now. So you don't need to be a coder or a data scientist to use it. You just need to know what's possible.
Absolutely. That's one thing, and we're like talking about real AI use cases from automating admin to writing captions, repurposing content, scripting podcasts, and even building a product copy. If you've ever said, "I wish I had more time to create," this one is for you then.
Right? And who hasn't? So let's be honest. Most creators are downgraded to dos, overwhelmed with it, right? You're not just making content, you're managing platforms, you're writing copy, and editing video, and watching hours of video, and replying to DMs, and trying not to pull out your hair.
Exactly, and somewhere in there, you're expected to be innovative and authentic too. It's no wonder burnout is real in this thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly where AI tools like ChatGPT, and we'll name a few others, but where they come in, and they're not replacing your voice, right? So they're not replacing you even. What they're doing
Mm-mm.
is they're removing the repetitive, boring, mundane tasks that's keeping you from from being productive.
Absolutely. So let's break it down. Here's what creators are using ChatGPT for right now: writing Instagram captions in their brainstorming video hookups or podcast titles. Other than that, turning YouTube into blog posts and
Mhm.
drafting newsletters, outlining course modules, generating ideas for like brand collaborations and all.
Mhm.
That's what
Mm,
they're doing.
yeah, just to
And
name just to name a few, right? This is just a few the stuff on top of the water.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I know one newsletter creator who
Mhm.
saves she boasts 5 hours a week, but when you take into account all the stress that she has with that empty page syndrome, I think she's saving a good long day by using these tools. Now she still edits, right? And she's still that creative person, but
Mm,
she has that kind of kickstart um that it just this tool that just removes the writer's block and gets you up to 90 miles an hour right away.
yeah. So one creator we worked with turned a single he turned a single 10-minute video into a podcast episode, a
Mhm.
blog, um, post, LinkedIn, 6 LinkedIn posts, and a carousel uh,
Mhm.
in one afternoon. That too, all with the help of AI, and he does more than that uh, with the help of AI.
Yeah, this is not fluff. It's not a joke. tools like ChatGPT with plugins and the way they're able to pair to be paired with tools like Notion AI or Opus Clip uh, make these kinds of scales accessible, easy, repeatable, and gives you more time to get into it. And these are just a few tools because when you combine with what you have, the tools we already have that are AI built into the
Mhm.
platforms we're using, you're looking at multiplications of what we would have taken hours and not just hours, but days and days of a
Yeah,
team doing beforehand.
yeah, you're right about that. The real shift here is not just speed; it's sustainability as well. You stop burning out trying to be everywhere all the time. It saves up a lot of your time for you.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's be clear: AI can help, right?
Mhm.
But it can't replace you, and
Yeah.
especially it can't replace your story, your point of view, your taste and style. It can't replace that edge that you bring
Mhm.
to the whole party.
Ab-
So
yeah.
even if you talked into it currently, right? If you talk to it for like a year and you try to have it know all your stories, it's still not good at that yet. So it still has to be
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, what AI gives you is like it gives you space, so you can actually spend time on your voice, your vision, and the stuff that sets you apart.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So think of AI as your rough draft buddy or your critical voice sometimes, not as your ghostwriter, but as that kind of little spice of salt in there that helps accelerate what you can do.
Yeah, so let's drop some names here. If you're a content creator, check these out. ChatGPT Pro with obviously custom GPTs for tone and Opus Clip for auto video editing. We've got Notion AI for organizing content calendars as well for you. Descript for quick audio and video edits, and Mixo for building one-page sites in minutes for you.
Yeah, yeah, and these tools aren't just cool. They're leveraged, they're fun, and they are maybe gonna save your marriage if you're trying to do too much at one time. So, uh,
Yeah.
they let solo creators act like a team of 5. They let a team of 10 act like an army, right? It's great.
Yeah, so now let's zoom out for creators running a business. AI can help with client emails, proposals, product descriptions, and even with invoices. What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's one freelancer I've spoken with, and even this thing comes up on a lot of my coffee hour chats now. Um, there's this guy that I was talking with, and he's using AI to outline every client's pitch. And what doing is going from 3 to 5 hours of research, taking it down to 25 minutes. And he will, and I do some of this tips from him. Is he will link in the person's public profile, their business page, uh, whatever they can find about them, their Facebook, related interesting content that they find from the industry, and helps narrow it down into a very concise um, report that he can then expand and kind of
Hmm.
ignore based off of his kind of natural skill set.
Yeah, that's true. So let's talk mindset. Adopting AI isn't just technical, it's emotional as well. It feels weird handing creative to a mechanic, to a machine. I'm sorry.
Right? It feels mechanical. You can imagine it's mechanical, but it's not. So it feels like cheating at first. But
Mm,
I guess to a caveman, having access to a fire was also cheating. So we're just evolving. It's collaborating, right? It's using the tools that we have so that we can be better. You're still the creative lead,
mm.
but you're now offloading some of the boring, monotonous work that gets in the way of that creativity.
Exactly. And if it gives you back your time, energy, and sanity, I believe it isn't that what tech is supposed to do. Isn't what it
It's
like it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's all about the saving your sanity and maybe giving more time with the kids.
Yeah. All right. So let's hear from you guys. What are you curious about, and how are you using your or planning to use your AI in your creative work? Drop your questions in the chat. We're here to answer them out for you. So we're gonna have some more questions in a while. So what else do you think about AI? Well,
You
yeah.
know, it's I'm using it. I'm using it more and more, and the sometimes it feels like I'm arm wrestling with it because I'm like, oh no, I don't like this. Go in this direction or that. But if you're used to working with people, then it's the same process anyways. You're like, no, I don't like this direction. Okay, cool. I like this direction. All right, refine some of this. And the cool part about it being the same and maybe not yet way better than a whole team of 20 content creators is that nobody gets upset when I tell ChatGPT, I don't like that idea, critique it and go in this direction. And then critique that too, and we'll compare. So nobody's going to come back and say, Phil, I just spent 18 hours on this damn thing and you're not loving it. Like, how do you look at yourself in the morning anymore? Right? Nobody's getting upset over it. ChatGPT doesn't care. And sometimes I'm even thinking like ChatGPT's having fun when I fight back with her.
Yeah, I mean, like, you must have used it for your personal stuff as well. You
Uh,
ask personal questions like things that bother you, your sanity
oh
at
yeah.
times.
The sanity I've lost a long time ago with three boys.
Oh
The
God.
it's kind of funny, right? So ChatGPT, and I heard this the other day, and I suddenly realized like that's exactly right. If I want like a man's kind of voice or kind of like sense, I'll be using ChatGPT. If I'm looking for that like woman's craziness, I'll use like
Mhm.
Claude, right? And I don't know why. Like Claude is great technically, but
Can
the
you spell
the
that for me, because I'm not aware of that?
Claude, Claude,
Okay.
Entropics AI, and it just seems to be have that little like feminine nature behind it. I don't know. Somebody don't shoot me, right? But
Okay.
I've heard other people say this too. And I don't mean she's more wrong, right? She's probably
Mhm.
more right. Who knows? Maybe that's why we think she's like a girl. The and then we have like the crazy Batman Joker with Grok and Elon Musk X's platform. So if you've played with that, it's kind of like to the point, and then sometimes it's sassy, and then sometimes it's just like a little bit crazy. Um, until I guess recently we had ChatGPT trying to make everybody feel like they're mini gods and letting them know, no, you're right and amazing and so wonderful. Did you hear about that little event where they kind of they made it overly agreeable?
Yeah, I guess.
They got a bunch of kickback from that because there should be some kind of balance, especially when it's a hardware, right? ChatGPT
Mhm.
is not a person or a friend. It's really just a predictive algorithm.
Exactly.
So yeah, so some people were loving it, right? Because you can imagine all the sociopaths out there like, yes, I am the king. And you know what?
Yeah.
I
The
just
validation
realized,
that gives you, ChatGPT gives you, oh, nobody else.
yeah, right. When you get all that reinforcement,
Yes.
you could go a little crazy.
So here we got another question for you. In what ways can AI tools help creators monetize their work more effectively?
Mm. So, in what ways can AIs use to monetize? So, monetization, I think, comes from having a certain amount of content
Mhm.
and to get kind of that velocity, right? So, you need to have some velocity. So part of it is going to be in getting out a baseline of content. The second part that's going to be more important is to help you do the research. And that research is important because you have to be able to um, target your audience, right? So you got to figure out what they're looking for and how are they going um, to to benefit from your tool in the way that's sensible to them. So by asking these questions, what's my target demographic, working that out between it, because it's not going to be able to get it right off. You're going to have to feed us some information, so it's not a general answer. And then once you get that, you can refine it back and forth. And I was talking to a guy this week, and a sales guy,
Mhm.
and he's like, I spend once a month taking 3 hours in the first part of my day, like the first Monday or the first day of the week of the month, and I'm looking at my goals and researching the target market. 3 hours doing this straight, very focused, right? That's a lot of work. So you can imagine how much detail he's going into this. And then he creates a 30-day plan. It's not really 30 days. It's like 20, what is it? Like 22 days, 21 days, 22 days for the weekdays. Cause on the weekends, he does more brainstorming, but not official work. And then he's taking the set of tools and incrementally creating content and reports. And as he goes through the month, he's mastered a new topic for a new demographic, and he's evolving his plan throughout that month and his ability to present. So for an example, and this is an example he used, but it works just fine. Say you have a product, say you have a car, right? You're trying to sell, a station wagon. You'd start off by saying, okay, who's my primary audience? Well,
Mhm.
I think it's going to be soccer moms. Okay, cool. You do some research. It seems reasonable, right? There's a little bit of evidence out there to support that. Cool. Now, how do I talk to soccer moms? What is their biggest problems? I'm searching Reddit. I'm scanning Reddit with GPT, or I'm doing deep research on this to get it to pull these questions for me. And then I'm diving into this. I'm trying to understand the language that they use, the vocabulary.
Mhm.
I'm trying to understand the difference between the soccer mom in Boston and Chicago and Louisiana and LA, right? So
Mhm.
I'm looking at the different communication skills that I need for all those big regions. And now I'm starting to kind of communicate with the one that I think is maybe the most beneficial, or if it's kind of really scary, like I'm on the edge of doing something that's a little bit too complicated for me, I'm going to
Mhm.
start with a smaller market segment so that I can, and the one that I think is more forgiving and kind of small, so that when I do something terrible, I can just apologize to a small group of people and not the whole world, right? And less people care. So it's making it easy to fail. And then over the course of the month, I am working on improving what I know and improving the message and my content. I'm refining it. I'm getting feedback. And just a whole month, I'm working on soccer moms. Then the next month,
Mhm.
if I haven't already, on the weekends, right on the Saturday, each Saturday, I'm like, okay, cool. Is this making sense? I'm not out doing work, but I'm like, hey, am I making the progress I wanted to? By the fourth Saturday, that fourth weekend, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm starting to think, what's the next one, right? So maybe not soccer moms. We've done soccer moms. I've learned all about this. I never knew about all this stuff about great soccer moms, and now I'm going to look into dads with uh, stay-home dads that have
Okay.
3+ kids. Okay,
Uh-huh.
then I'm going to spend the whole month on that, and kind of learn this field. It's a little contrived example, but if you're in any industry, immediately some ideas come to mind on what it would be.
Great. So there's another question for you. What are some real world examples of creators successfully using AI to grow their audience or brand?
Can you say the question again? I want to make sure I got it right.
Okay, what are some real world examples of creators successfully using AI to grow their audience or brand?
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
You know Gary V,
Yeah.
right? I think he doesn't talk about it a lot, but he
Mhm.
talks about using AI to help create content in the very similar philosophy that we talk about. You get the seed concept, you test it a little bit, you still go there and create them yourself. Gary Vee writes a lot of his own content. He spends a lot of time. He loves doing it. and that's kind of cool for him. A lot of us don't love doing doing copy, especially in the beginning, because until you get
Exactly.
good at it, it's rough, right? You don't know what people are going to say, you don't know how to test it, you know, you don't know if people are going to make fun of you. It makes you tired, right? It's a whole nother set of muscles. As you're developing these muscles and these skills, you can use any of these AI systems that we talked about, from Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, to help critique your initial plans, or to even help develop those initial plans, and then go into there and refine it more. I like, one of the things I like to do after I've done just a couple hours of research on a new topic myself is to then put together a great prompt, and to have deep research from Grok and from OpenAI ChatGPT
Mhm.
to to do the deep research for me, right? And you know, it comes back after like 5 or 20 minutes, normally like 11 minutes for ChatGPT and like 5 minutes for Grok, but it comes back at a certain time. And I start reading through all that content, and I start reading through the websites and references.
Mhm.
And after I've gone through that, right, it did all the hard work for me. Went out there and found it. And I ask it to then say, okay, find these communities, find these groups that are public and where the energy is. And then I start looking at those. And if you're able to go and join those and have the time for that, this is where you can take the next level of your personal sales and development, is
Exactly. Mhm.
in reaching out to these communities directly and start sharing your values, your experience, just get involved. And uh, once you get into those groups, you can take and summarize those. And I'd recommend this is to take a bunch of that feed that you can, you know, whatever it is, and see who are the authorities in that group. And the ChatGPT is great at pointing out, hey, this person um is good with, you know, you name it, right? This guy is kind of like the leader. This guy, you find he needs, if you want to be supported in here, you'll
Mhm.
have to kind of get on his side, right? And you may have to kind of prompt it to find some of these. So it's it takes a little bit of practice, but when you think of it this way, all of a sudden you're like, you realize how much direction you can give to the AI systems that are going to help make your work easier, because it's a lot of work that you're doing if you have to spend a lot of time thinking about that. And sometimes you'll miss these patterns, and even a lot of us don't know to look for these patterns, right? Who plays what
Mhm.
role in what community? And it's not
Yeah.
manipulative, right? It's just, it's professional, and every community has their key stakeholders, so you have to know this.
No, you're right about that. So we actually have to know about that. So, how can creators maintain creative control while integrating AI into their workflow?
So you maintain creative control by keeping that critical inner voice.
Mhm.
You can't just, you know, set it and walk away. You have to sit there, coach it, give it direction, give it style. And it sounds easy, because in some ways you can just give AI the minimum prompt and it can go real far. But that kind of content is so boring, so flat nowadays, that people feel like it's kind of icky. So
Mhm.
the way you get through that is by directing it, by putting in your humanized content, your stories, the your parables, or what's valuable to you. And over time, yeah, the system will get better. You get better at prompting it both ways. It goes both ways. And the trick is to make sure you get your voice in there while staying on target, which is something I always struggle with. Keep closing that circle and iterating over and just getting better with it.
Mhm. That's right. That's how you answered that. What are the limitations of using ChatGPT for storytelling, scripting, or copywriting?
Um, for any kind of content, it's great,
Mhm.
right? So look at the purpose of what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to get done, right? So I'm going through a fun book. The moth, it's the How to Tell a Story by the Moth, and it's a book written by these 5 women. And what they do is they have a that's like a Toastmasters in a way, but it's
Mhm.
not focused on teaching people to communicate, but it's centered around kind of working with people to get out their story. And they do 10-minute stories, and it's kind of it has a certain philosophy, right? So
Yeah.
there's the moth philosophy for telling a personal story. And the reason I bring this up is because the more kind of stories you understand to tell, the more guidance you give it, the better it's going to be directed and the better results you're going to get. So I'd encourage you guys to read How to Tell a Story by the Moth, not just to learn this one concept, but so that you can start to understand the language of storytelling and the criteria of what you're trying to achieve. So if you're trying to tell a story, or if you're trying to create sales copy, or if you're trying to create, whatever kind of copy for the purpose of it is, the better you can understand the outcome and a framework, the better results you're going to get. And sometimes it's hard to do that much. So if you can't kind of jump to that part just yet, because that takes time, find somebody that you love the way they communicate, say maybe Seth Godin or Chris Voss, or you name it, right? And then either see if it can identify their storytelling style, or their the way they do a pitch deck, or
Mhm.
the like, whoever it is, whatever the goal is, try to have it emulate them. And you may have to coach it through by guiding it through some research and to guide it into the corner that you're talking about. I think the best, well, that's a good place to start. The best is that over time you get to know the language and the concept of what you're trying to do, and you make your own system and your own style, and it becomes your voice. And that way people can appreciate you and the content that's generating. You're guiding it in a meaningful way that's more fun for you and the audience.
That's fun. That's a fun answer. So yeah, we're gonna get on to the next question. How can creator use ChatGPT to speed up their content creation process without sacrificing their originality?
Mm. So I think you do. Um, don't try to do things in one foul sweep, right? Just don't say, write me a story based on my style for how the moon can, how the cow got to the moon. Do it like this. Say, I want you to create an outline,
Mhm.
and step by step, I want to create the overall the overall summary
Mhm.
for this story. And then I want to introduce some my examples that I want to reference, and then I want you to critique those, and then to iterate again. And it's this iterative approach that makes it so that you're telling a good story and that you are the creative voice behind it, not it. And it's going to work with you so that you're creating something that no ChatGPT bot or any other bot would be able to create, because it's your story and you guided it, and it basically became your magical auto pen.
All right. So it was a fun session. Phil, do you have anything to say to our audience? Do you have anything in your mind that you want to convey to our audience?
Oh goodness, I have so much I wanted to say to you guys. But
We
let
would love
me right, sorry guys, I'm just going to get started now. I'm on my pulpit. No,
to.
look, I just want to say, if you're creating and you're building a brand, an audience is out there for you, and maybe even a business is out there looking for what you do. So AI won't do it for you, but it will make it a hell of a lot easier to stay consistent, to show up, and to grow. So focus on building your voice to make AI your servant,
Mhm.
and to create your brand and your story, and to get it out there and share it with the world, because somebody out there is waiting for it and waiting to be blessed by what it is you have to share.
Absolutely, that was wonderful. Start small, use it to help you publish faster, think clearly, or just get past the blank page. You don't have to outsource your soul, obviously. You just have to free up your brain here.
Love it. Love it. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. We'll be sending out some free handouts to anybody who asks for the tools we mentioned here. So just make sure you apply in the comments for that resource. And I look forward to you guys telling us about what you tried and how it went. Looking for some war stories.
Great. See you guys next time. Until then, create smarter, not harder. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.